At exactly 2 a.m., the phone vibrated against the wooden nightstand. Oliver Grant stirred but didn't fully wake. The room was dark except for the pale blue glow of a charging indicator and the faint orange wash of a London street lamp pushing through the curtains. His wife shifted beside him. The radiator clicked softly. The city outside was quiet. The notification read, £7.12, digital services. Oliver half-opened one eye, saw the amount, and swiped it away. £7. A minor software adjustment. Probably one of the analytics tools tied to his business website. Nothing unusual. Nothing urgent. He turned the phone face down and went back to sleep. That moment would cost him £24,480. But not immediately. Not dramatically. Not in a way that made noise. Oliver was not careless. He was not reckless. He was not financially irresponsible. In fact, he built his reputation on being methodical. At 41, Oliver ran a small but growing e-commerce packaging company based in Manchester. He supplied eco-friendly branded packaging to boutique retailers across the UK and parts of Europe. It wasn't glamorous work, but it was steady. Predictable. Clean margins. Tight logistics. His operation relied heavily on digital systems, inventory management platforms, customer analytics dashboards, subscription-based design tools, cloud accounting software, automated marketing platforms. Each service was inexpensive on its own. That was the appeal. Small monthly fees for efficiency. Small monthly fees for automation. Small monthly fees that scaled quietly. Oliver had built his business during the pandemic when digital infrastructure became survival. He trusted systems. He trusted automation. He trusted dashboards. He believed that if something was wrong, the system would tell him. The £7.12 charge was the beginning of something subtle. It originated from a marketing analytics platform he had trialed 18 months earlier. The tool promised predictive purchasing behavior analysis for online shoppers. He'd signed up during a promotional campaign offering an entry-tier subscription at £7.12 per month for the first quarter. The upgrade clause was buried deep in the terms. Automatic tier escalation once traffic thresholds were exceeded. At first, the charge remained £7.12. 3 months later, it became £21.40. He didn't notice. 6 months later, it rose to £64.90. Still unnoticed. Because the system worked. Orders were being processed. Clients were satisfied. Revenue was growing. The business was expanding from £38,000 monthly revenue to nearly £62,000 within a year. Growth masked drift. Increased cash flow camouflaged micro-leaks. Oliver's psychological relationship with small numbers was quietly shifting. Behavioral finance researchers call it threshold desensitization. When exposure to recurring minor amounts reduces emotional response, the brain categorizes it as background noise. The first time he saw £7.12, it meant something. The 10th time, it meant nothing. Every month, the platform recalculated usage. Each incremental increase seemed justified by increased website traffic. The emails explaining changes arrived politely at 11:03 a.m. on Tuesdays. He skimmed subject lines but rarely opened them. He was busy negotiating supplier contracts. Busy securing warehouse space. Busy refining eco-certification compliance. He trusted that if something was significant, it would demand his attention. It didn't. 9 months in, the monthly charge crossed £198. By then, the system had automatically upgraded him into a premium predictive tier. The feature set expanded. Heat maps. Behavior clusters. Forecast modeling. He never logged in. The dashboard existed quietly in the cloud, analyzing data no one viewed. At one point, in what would later feel like a strange act of mercy, Oliver almost caught it. It was a Sunday evening in October. Rain pressed against the kitchen window. He sat with his laptop open, reviewing quarterly expenses. His accountant had suggested trimming software redundancy before year-end tax preparation. He filtered recurring payments. There it was. Digital services, £198.43. He frowned. For a brief second, his finger hovered over the trackpad. Was that right? He tried to recall the platform. The trial. The original cost. Then his phone buzzed with a message from a supplier in Rotterdam about a delayed shipment. The moment dissolved. He bookmarked the review and moved on. The near catch lasted less than 15 seconds. Over the next 8 months, traffic to his website increased after a partnership with a popular homeware brand. The analytics system interpreted higher activity as justification for enterprise tier scaling. The charge moved to £742 per month. Then £1,180. Then £1,820. Each increase was accompanied by an email explaining performance optimization. The increments were never sudden enough to trigger panic. They were proportionate to growth. The illusion of correlation masked causation. Because revenue was up, the charges felt aligned. What Oliver didn't realize was that the platform's predictive feature charged per processed behavioral event, not per active order. Every abandoned cart, every scroll, every hover was billable. The system was monetizing attention. And attention, online, is infinite. The first year passed. Total paid to the platform, £9,324. He never once logged into the dashboard. The second year began with confidence. Oliver hired 2 additional staff members and signed a lease on expanded warehouse space. Cash flow projections looked stable. Automated systems were functioning smoothly. At 2 a.m., the alerts still arrived occasionally. £742. £1,820. £2,040. He slept through most of them. By month 16, the cumulative total exceeded £18,000. The discovery did not come dramatically. It came through routine. In early April, his accountant requested a full software expenditure audit to prepare for an investor conversation. Oliver exported 18 months of transaction data into a spreadsheet. He sorted by vendor. He scrolled. His breathing slowed. The numbers did not look catastrophic at first glance. They looked repetitive. Repetition is deceptively calming. But when he highlighted the column and pressed sum, the total appeared in the lower right corner of the screen. £24,480. He stared at it. There was no music. No dramatic shift in lighting. No raised voice. Just the quiet hum of his office heater and the faint tick of a wall clock. £24,480. He rechecked the formula. Still the same. He opened the vendor portal for the first time in nearly 2 years. The dashboard loaded slowly. A sophisticated interface appeared, filled with colorful graphs and behavioral segmentation maps. The system had been working tirelessly. Predicting, processing, billing, and used. He navigated to the subscription details. Enterprise behavioral forecast tier. Auto-scaling enabled. Event-based billing active. Cancellation required 30-day notice. The psychological weight of the moment was not explosive. It was hollow. A quiet recalibration began in his mind. How had he not noticed? The answer was not negligence. It was structure. Oliver's mental model separated business growth from operational tools. Growth justified expense. Expense justified automation. Automation justified inattention. He had designed a system that required trust. And the system required attention. The contradiction sat gently but firmly in his chest. For several minutes, he simply watched the animated graphs update in real time. Every new visitor to his website triggered microcalculations. Microcharges. Microevents. The platform displayed projected ROI metrics he had never reviewed. It estimated that the predictive tool had increased conversion rates by 1.8%. He tried to determine if that increase justified £24,480. There was no clear answer. He downloaded usage logs. Rows upon rows of timestamps. Hover durations. Scroll depth percentages. Data without meaning. Money without friction. He canceled the subscription. The confirmation email arrived instantly. It thanked him for being a valued client. There was no apology. No anomaly detected. No warning triggered. The system had functioned exactly as designed. That night, at 2 a.m., his phone remained silent. The absence of vibration felt unfamiliar. In the days that followed, Oliver began reviewing every automated payment in his business. Cloud storage tiers. CRM platforms. Inventory tracking systems. Design subscriptions. Courier integrations. Individually, none appeared alarming. Collectively, they formed a dense web of quiet financial commitments. He calculated that nearly 18% of his operational expenses were recurring digital subscriptions. Each justified in isolation. Unquestioned in accumulation. From a psychological perspective, Oliver's experience reflects what behavioral economists describe as cumulative erosion bias. Humans are poor at perceiving slow financial bleed when it lacks a singular painful moment. We react strongly to a £24,000 one-time loss. We barely register £742 per month. The narrative structure of loss matters. His business remained profitable. The loss did not bankrupt him. It did not collapse his warehouse. Employees were paid on time. But something shifted internally. Oliver realized that his confidence in automation had quietly replaced active stewardship. He had built a system that ran smoothly. Too smoothly. The unsettling element was not the money alone. It was the invisibility. Had revenue dipped slightly, he might have blamed market trends. Had profit margins tightened, he might have renegotiated supplier contracts. But because growth masked leakage, the financial narrative remained positive. Until it didn't. Months later, during a small business networking event in Leeds, Oliver shared the story privately with another entrepreneur. The reaction was not shock. It was recognition. Several nodded slowly. One mentioned a forgotten SaaS platform costing £320 monthly for nearly a year. Another admitted to redundant inventory software overlapping with existing systems. The pattern was common. In an economy where tools are affordable and scalable, oversight becomes diffuse. No single charge feels dangerous. But scale compounds silence. Oliver now conducts quarterly subscription audits. Not hurried reviews. Intentional ones. He logs into each platform. Evaluates usage. Disables auto-scaling where possible. He reintroduced friction. Friction is uncomfortable. But friction creates awareness. The £24,480 loss did not destroy his business. It refined his vigilance. At 2 a.m., when his phone vibrates now, he turns it over. He reads the notification fully. Even if it says £3.40. Even if it says £12.99. Because the number itself is rarely the story. The story is repetition. The story is escalation. The story is the quiet assumption that small amounts do not require attention. In modern small business operations, digital tools are indispensable. They promise efficiency, predictive insight, scalability. They are designed to integrate seamlessly into financial ecosystems. Seamlessness is the selling point. But seamless systems rarely interrupt you. They rarely raise their voices. They simply continue. Oliver's case is not a tale of corporate deception. The terms were clear. The pricing structure transparent. The emails sent consistently. The failure was not malicious. It was human. Attention is finite. Automation expands infinitely. Somewhere between those two truths lies the cost of convenience. Today, Oliver's office looks the same. The warehouse runs efficiently. Orders ship on time. Clients remain satisfied. But there is a new ritual embedded in his routine. At the end of each month, after reconciling revenue, he reviews a single spreadsheet titled Silent Drift. It contains every recurring charge. He scrolls slowly. He asks one question repeatedly. Is this still necessary? Sometimes the answer is yes. Sometimes it isn't. The difference now is deliberate awareness. At exactly 2 a.m., months after cancellation, his phone vibrates again. £6.50, cloud backup adjustment. He doesn't swipe it away. He opens the app. He reads the details. He decides. And in that small act of attention, there is something quietly powerful. Because in small business, as in life, the most consequential shifts rarely arrive as crises. They arrive as £7.12. They arrive at 2 a.m. They arrive quietly. And whether they grow depends entirely on whether someone is awake enough to notice.